Hey there! This quick recording is designed to help you review the events in Chapter 10 of Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, as well as take a look at that student guide that you were supposed to fill out as you were completing that session. So we're going to jump right in. Your assigned reading from yesterday was Chapter 10 of Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. At the end of chapter 9, we left off, and Papa had a broken leg. They had just returned from Vicksburg, where they were attacked. L.T. Morrison kind of protected them, and he got a little bit crazy when he was defending them. So he ended up injuring one of the white men that had attacked them. Papa gets shot during all of this. And we also know that Stacy was with them on this trip. So when they return from Vicksburg, Papa is injured. He has this broken leg. He's been shot at. They aren't really forthcoming with this information to Mama because they don't want to scare her. But Stacy ends up spilling the beans about what happened to Cassie later on. Taking all of that in, let's take a look at what happened in Chapter 10. In Chapter 10, we learned that because Papa's leg is broken, their finances for their family are in bad shape. It's tough. He can't go and work on the railroad and pull in that extra money that he needs to keep their farm and to pay the taxes and to pay the loan on their land. Stacy feels terrible about this. In fact, he feels responsible for this. One day, while the children and LT are riding in the wagon, they run into Caleb Wallace, who stops his truck in the middle of the road and threatens LT. He actually gets out and moves the truck out of the street with his bare hands. So the Wallaces come, they threaten LT. LT moves the Wallace's truck out of the way with his bare hands. All of the Logans are worried that something more is going to happen. So they're all really worried that something bad is going to happen, something worse than what's already happened to them. One day, Jeremy is telling the Logan children about how he has a tree house, but Stacy won't let them go look at that. So kind of keep that event in mind as you continue to read the book. Eventually, Papa receives notice that the bank wants the loan paid in full, and he has to call Uncle Hammer to get the money to do that. During the annual revival that they have in their community, Uncle Hammer walks up having sold his car in order to get the money for the farm. So he's glad to help. He gives that money to Papa and they're able to keep the farm. He wants to stay, but Papa warns him that if he stays, it will only cause trouble. On the last day of the revival, TJ and the Sims brothers approach TJ. On the last day of the revival, TJ and the Sims brothers approach. TJ tries to impress the children with his new clothes and his white friends, but the children just leave in disgust. The Logans still don't want to have anything to do with TJ. They're really upset with his actions and they're disappointed in him. TJ seems hurt, and we end that chapter with him kind of standing still and alone for a while, and then finally he follows his new friends, Melvin and R.W. Now remember, Melvin and R.W. are Jeremy Sims' older brothers, so they're white. They're not very kind to TJ, but TJ is very happy to be his friend or to be their friend. We kind of get the idea that something bad might happen as a result of that relationship. It's definitely not a healthy friendship. TJ's excited to be their friend, whereas Melvin and RW just kind of make fun of him and use him and are really cruel to him. So that's how we end chapter 10. So we've had some big events that happened in chapter 10. They almost lose the farm, but Uncle Hammer sells his car and is able to help Papa pay for the farm. And then we end the chapter with TJ trying to be friends with the Logan children, but the Logans really just not wanting anything to do with him because of all of his actions recently. So we end the chapter with him walking off with Melvin and RW, even though we know it's not the best relationship for him. Okay, in your study guide, you had a couple of reading check questions that you were supposed to fill out. The first one is this one. It says, early in this chapter, Jeremy mentions that RW and Melvin don't treat TJ very well. Later, Mama says that TJ is headed for trouble. Additionally, Stacy has no time for his old friends now. Do you think that TJ is someone to be disliked, someone to be pitied, or both? Support your answer with details from the text. So, Mama says TJ is headed for trouble. Stacy doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. So the big question here is, do you think that TJ is someone to be disliked, someone to be pitied, or both? Support your answers with details from the text. And this answer can probably go both ways, right? TJ has definitely done a lot of things, including getting Mama fired from her job, which would make you dislike him. And so I think that it's really justifiable for the Logan children to dislike TJ right now. He hasn't been a good friend. He's actually been a pretty bad friend. At the same time, we know that he's being taken advantage of by his new white friends. So it's easy to feel some pity for him as well. He's really working hard to earn their acceptance. He also wants the Logan children to accept him and to kind of be impressed with his new friendship with Melvin. And the Sims brothers, you know, however, the Sims brothers are actually really cruel and mean to him. They're just using him. So as readers, we can kind of see both sides of it. We can dislike him for the things that he's done, especially the way that he's treated the Logans and the Logan children. We can also pity him as well, because here he is just really wanting everyone's acceptance. He wants the Logans to be impressed with him. He wants the Sims brothers to like him and to accept him and to be his friend, yet really they're just using him. So it's very easy to feel both dislike and pity for TJ at this point in the book. The other question that you guys have to answer is this one. It says, Stacy feels responsible for his father's broken leg, even though he could have done nothing to stop what happened and should not feel guilty. What do Stacy's feelings tell you about his character? Was Papa right to bring him along on the trip to Vicksburg? What do you guys think? So what does his guilt and his feeling of responsibility for his father's broken leg tell you about who Stacy is? And was it right for Papa to bring him along on the trip to Vicksburg? I think it's safe to say that Stacy's feelings of guilt and responsibility for what happened to his dad shows the reader that Stacy is growing up and he's maturing. He's starting to become a man. He's starting to kind of take, these big responsibilities on his shoulders. Although Stacy witnessed the violence, and that's certainly unfortunate and really scary, it can also be viewed as proof that Papa was right to bring Stacy along. That kind of violence is one of the things that Papa knows Stacy needs to learn, so that he can be a successful man in that community, and so that he can understand, how things work and what he needs to be prepared for and how he should react in situations like that. So although it was a scary situation for Stacy to be involved in, especially with him only being 13, it was important for him to be involved in that and to witness that situation. It's all a part of Stacy learning and growing up and, becoming a man in the eyes of his father. Our last question on the reading guide says, Stacy does not say for sure who attacked Papa, but he does say that he thinks it was the Wallaces. Why do the Wallaces want to hurt Papa? Do you think they will stop after injuring him? So knowing everything that we know that's gone on in the book, knowing that the Wallaces were the ones to burn the berries and the Logans were the ones to lead the boycott on the Wallace store, why do you think the Wallaces want to hurt Papa? Do you think they'll stop after injuring him? Okay, we know that the reason the Wallaces attacked Papa is that he refused to end the boycott at their store. So he started the boycott, he's refusing to end it. Since they're threatening Papa didn't succeed in ending his protest, the Wallaces have resorted to violence. So they threatened him, that didn't work, now they've resorted to violence. The Wallaces will only stop going after Papa when he ends the boycott, and the Wallaces can resume gouging the black community at their store. And so it's pretty easy to infer and to assume that this isn't over yet. The Wallaces are going to stop at nothing, kind of to get revenge and to reach a point, where they can go back to things as normal. They want the boycott to be ended, and until that boycott is ended, they will stop at nothing to get what they want. So the other part of your study guide that you need to complete is just a quick summary of the main events in this chapter. And we kind of already did that at the beginning. I think the major events in this chapter are that the Logans have found themselves in a position where they are about to lose their home. And as a result, Uncle Hammer sells his car so that they can keep the farm. In addition to that, we know through this chapter that there's a growing tension between the Logan family and the Wallaces, and this is only going to end badly. So that's kind of the main points of this chapter. And I'll say it one more time. Because Papa is injured, the Logans are in a position where they are about to lose their farm. So Uncle Hammer sells his car to give them money to buy the farm outright. In addition to that, the situation between the Wallaces and the Logans is only getting worse, and we know that it's only going to end badly. So we have this tension continuing to build between the two families. That being said, your study guide asks you to make a prediction of what you think is going to happen next. I think if you take a look at what we've read in chapter 10 and the discussion questions, it's really easy to infer that the Wallaces are going to attack again, or they're going to, do something else to harm the Logan family or to hurt the Logan family. So it's really easy to predict that there's going to be another big event between the Logans and the Wallaces. So we can kind of infer there's going to be another big conflict between the two families. Okay, let's take a look at what you have next. Today is Thursday, and you have been assigned session 63. So you want to complete session 63 today. You also want to begin working on the LC 7.5 journal assignment if you haven't done so already. And then the assigned reading for today is chapter 11. So by the end of this week, you should have chapter 11 completed. When we meet on Monday, we will talk about chapter 11 in Class Connect, and we'll also spend a big chunk of our time focusing on the 7.05 journal assignment. So we're going to work on that together so you guys have some ideas to use on your own journal assignment. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful in helping you guys summarize and remember the main points from the novel, as well as to fill out that student guide. You guys have a great day. Bye.